Hey, thanks for joining me on Just Cook with Michael. Today, we're going to make a classic dressing of vinaigrette. Vinaigrette is just a staple of cooking, and in this recipe, it's the standard 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. With that, there's a lot of variations you could do, but today I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil, some white wine vinegar, some mustard, stone ground mustard, salt and pepper, and a little bit of garlic. There's a lot of variations you could do when making a vinaigrette. You could change up the oil, like using avocado oil or walnut oil. You could change up the acidity. You could use balsamic, many types of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, lime juice, lemon juice. You could mix in some orange juice in there that's not as acidic, but you could put some of that in there as a flavoring. As far as other flavorings, obviously fresh herbs are great in there. Another variation you could do is to add some sweetness to it. I'm not putting any sweetness in this vinaigrette because I'm just keeping this basic just as a base. But you could add things like honey, agave syrup. A lot of times I use jam. That's probably what I use jams for the most in the kitchen. I don't use jams in a lot of other applications, but just adding a little bit of apricot jam, raspberry jam is delicious, and it also adds to the viscosity of the vinaigrette a little bit. One ingredient I add quite often to my vinaigrette is some mustard. Mustard has an emulsifier called mucilage. That's found on the outside of the mustard seed, and it's a surfactant or an emulsifier, and that will keep your oil and vinegar from separating. So just a little bit of mustard could really hold it together. And today I'm going to show you a vinaigrette without the emulsifier of mustard and one with, so you can see the difference on how quickly they separate. So have fun making vinaigrettes. The options of your ingredients are endless. Now it's important to mince your garlic very finely because you want it to incorporate and disperse throughout your vinaigrette evenly. All right, now to mix the ingredients, I have a cup of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to put in another 1/3 cup of white wine vinegar. Again, there's many types of acidity you could choose for this. Always taste, because depending on your preference and also on the strength of the vinegar, you know, some vinegars have more of a stronger acidity taste, or the lime juice. So taste often and adjust. If you think it feels too heavy on, too oily, then you could add more vinegar and vice versa. So I have the oil vinegar in there. I have my garlic. It's probably about a tablespoon of very finely minced garlic. Right, now I'm going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of mustard. It's best to use either like a stone ground mustard or Dijon mustard. It has more of that emulsifier in it that's found on the seeds of the mustard. Now I'm going to put the vinaigrette in a glass jar. Let's put my black pepper in there. Put that in now. Fresh ground black pepper is always best. Again, this little pepper grinder is nice because has a little texture base, and you can measure out what you want. It's probably about a 1/2 teaspoon of fresh ground black pepper there. Mix this up. Half of this vinaigrette, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to put it in another glass jar just so you could see the emulsifying effect of mustard. There we go. Now I'm putting in my 1/2 tablespoon of mustard in there. And this one. Shake it really good. This is the time-lapse video. The jar with the lid has the mustard in it acting as an emulsifier, and the jar without the lid does not have mustard yet. So you'll see it'll separate quicker than the jar with mustard. So as you can see, the difference in the separation between the jar that has the mustard in it and the jar that doesn't. And often when I add jam to it, the pectin in that jam also helps keep everything in suspension. So that's it. This one was a simple one, basic vinaigrette. I tasted it, the flavors are good. I think the balance of acidity to oil is good, but this is kind of like a basic recipe here. Again, you could do a lot of variations. And thanks for joining me today on Just Cook with Michael. Now you have the ratio for perfect vinaigrette, 3:1 oil to vinegar, and a lot of variation in between and what you could add, what flavoring agents you could add to it. Have a good one. Subscribe if you like these videos and you want to see more. Now go cook for somebody you love.